All right. Well, we will just get going and get started. So, hello, everybody, and welcome to Mastering More4apps, leveraging templates for faster, error-free EBS data entry. So, I'm Stephanie, and I'll be moderating today's webinar. Since this is quick, I'll just go over a few things as fast as possible before passing it off to Rachana. So, everyone will receive today's recording by the end of the week. After Rachana presents, we'll begin our Q&A portion. During the session, feel free to put your questions in the Q&A box or in the chat, and we will only answer them during that Q&A part, just to allow everyone to hear everything and hop off at the end if needed. And this is our very last session of the day here for our End User Education Day. If you missed any previous ones, don't worry, because we will also send out the recordings for those. If you joined previous ones, thank you, and thanks for coming back. And now a little bit more about our host today. Rachana has been in the Oracle ethos for over 20 years. She has extensive experience as a consultant implementing, upgrading, and supporting Oracle applications ranging from Oracle 11i to cloud and spanning a breadth of modules across supply chain, procurement, inventory, and manufacturing. She is currently a board member in multiple OATUG special interest groups like AR and order management, and is a regular speaker and writer on the topic of supply chains. So let's just get started. So Rachana, would you like to take it away?
Sure. Thank you, Stephanie, for the introduction. And I've been with More4apps for about 9+ years and have probably touched base, worked with a lot of you out there. And it is always a pleasure, a privilege to connect here on this forum. So let's keep going with these series of Education Day that we have done. And we'll dive into the EBS procurement and a little more of the supply chain solutions today, and walk through how you can streamline your processes given the current landscape. And wherever I go, the talk of the day in supply chain circles and procurement circles is the tariffs. So I wanted to start off, tee up a poll question. And let's
Give me 1 second, I'll pull that up.
Yes, go ahead.
There you go. Is your business impacted by the recent tariffs being rolled out? Anyone can feel free to answer that. Yeah. Yeah. I'll give a few more seconds, maybe like 10. Yeah.
Yeah, so many of you are on both the purchase and the sales side.
And then I'll share the results. Yeah.
Okay.
So majority are affected. Yeah.
Yes, majority are affected, and many of them, it's a balance. I thought it's more heavy on the procurement, but it is on the customer pricing, the sales side as well. So let's dive in. That is going to be the backdrop today, the impacts of your the tariffs, the changing landscape, how we navigate through that, and how can you improve your efficiency in dealing with this, navigating through these changes using our solutions, the More4apps EBS solutions, EBS wizards. And I'm going to start with teeing off from the poll results. So it looks like you have price fluctuations with the suppliers, with your customers as well. So how can you implement those in bulk? Okay, so let's start from the customer pricing side. If you have, I hope you can see my screen. I've started sharing. Yes, all right. Okay, so we are going to start from the customer pricing side. So the price list wizard is your solution for modifying any sales order pricing with customers. Okay, and while we talk through this, I'll also touch upon how you can streamline any wizard to suit your day-to-day use cases. You can trim them down and have your own tabs or worksheets that suit your flows, your business flows. Okay, so let's say you're dealing with an item that is undergoing a change. You have to go to hundreds of customer price lists and change the item pricing across board. All right, so how do you do that? So first off, let's look at this template that I've created here, really trimmed down. You know that pricing screens can be 3 layers, 4 layers, you know, the qualifiers and all of that, attributes and things like that. You can all pull them. You can pull all of those columns into one sheet. You can trim them off if you don't need them. So if you really want to just update and date the current pricing, introduce a new pricing with a new start date, you can have a nice, concise, trimmed down sheet, which is just focused on changing the item prices on multiple price lists. Okay, so just have the basic minimum on the header, the price list name and everything. And then we have the start date, end date, and the new pricing, which is going to be the create new record value. And how I've gotten down to this, whittled down to this is many of you would know who are familiar with More4apps. You can actually go in and remove columns. Let's say I don't need the product category, for example. I can go in and delete that. I can also resequence columns. Let's say I want to see the unit of measure right next to the product. I can cut it off of here, place it anywhere else. Okay, so I can just place it here. I can reorder, resequence columns, treat it like Excel, and you can tailor them, remove them as you wish, as long as they are complying with, whatever is mandatory on the sheet. So that lends itself to really churning out your own tailored worksheets and being really trimmed down, efficient, and streamlined in your business processes as you go through these mass changes. Okay, these can be saved. I just pull it off of my folders and these are ready to go on a given day. So let's go through these item updates. So let's say I'm given as a user, I'm given these items. I have to go across a lot of the customer price list that I have to go and change it so that sales orders on these items have a revised pricing. So how I would go about doing that. So I can just take the list of items from my email or anywhere and go into the sheet that I've trimmed down and put it as my product value. And let's say I just want active price lists with these items. So I'm going to put that as a double clause. So all active with these items. So that's going to be my search. And the way the download works off the sheet, when I say download off the sheet, it's going to take my highlighted area and kind of conjoin these two search parameters and bring me back any price list lines that match these two. That's how it works when I say download using sheet. In addition, I'm filtering it. This display option on your price list wizard is pretty useful. You can filter off the noise and suppress all those end-dated historical pricing of these items on your price lists. So you can just say, I want the current and future effective lines from my price list. That clears a lot of the clutter. You have a nice, clean download here. So let's look at that. I think I have multiple sessions open. So it logged me off. I'll just log back in again. I went past this part. Everybody is familiar. I've had multiple sessions where I have done some preliminary stuff. So I'll just go straight into past the login and all that. Because I had multiple spreadsheet, I think there was a different responsibility on another one. So I'll go in as a pricing user now. Okay, so now it will chug along and bring back the matching information. Okay, and the way it is decluttered is that you won't see all the other hundreds of lines on that price list. So there might be numerous price lists, each with maybe hundreds, thousands of lines, end dated and effective lines and other items, thousand other items. The good part is that you can actually just focus on your item here. You can clear off the clutter. And if you were doing this on the Oracle forms, you would have to first bring up the price list and then query for your item and then get past all the end dated lines on that item to even get to that correct line to update. So get past all that noise and you're able to do a focused download here. Okay. Taking a little bit. Yeah, I might just reduce this if it is something with the instance. It's a lot more than what I thought. Yeah, you can see the countdown here. When I ran this before, it seemed to be a lot less. Anyway, it's working on it. So we have 869 records and I can clear the download criteria. So in a jiffy, we were able to pull 869 records with all of these items and just these bunch of items, the 4 items or the handful of 8 items that we were querying from each price list. each and every price list. So that's quite a bit of results and a very focused set of results. Additionally, these are only currently effective lines. So you don't see all those end dated lines. You don't see, all those historical pricing of items. You don't see any other items except for that handful of 8 or 10 that we were looking for. Okay, so that gives me a very focused set to work on. And from here on, it's really easy. I've already put my default here. Many of you might be familiar with the default values. It's like a blanket value, which you want to stick into every row while doing an upload, one common value. Just put it up here. You don't have to worry about putting it on every line. So I put the update as the action. Additionally, this is useful. If I want to end date everything as of today or end of the month, I can put one blanket value here. Okay, so let's say everything is end dating 5/30. I can put that here. And then I have the new value. This is the current pricing. I'm going to end date it. And then there is a new value that I'm going to update to. Okay, so here, yeah, let's put it as this. Okay, so that's the end date. And then the new value could be actually a percentage increase. Let's say all of these items are undergoing a percentage increase. You can actually peg it to the current value. And how I do that is using a formula. I can say everything is undergoing a 5% increase. So I can use Excel formulas, point to my current value, and do a 1.5, 1.05, that's a 5% increase, and peg it to that. So on the default, obviously it's a 0, but this, when it trickles down, because this is a formula, it'll apply on every row, and it'll do an incremental 5% on each of these values to put the new value here. It's just a single field update, and you get the update. You get the new line on your price list, and you get an end dated list line. So the current line gets end dated. You get a new insert for the new line starting the day after 5/30. All of that happens in one upload. So that way it makes it very easy to do your pricing updates. Okay. And this has been a very common scenario we've seen in the recent past month or so. A lot of people have to go in and do these, not just on the, this is only on the sales side. I'll go through the supplier side as well. Okay, so let's do it for a few. I'm not going to do it for the whole 900 set, but let's just highlight a few of these and do it on a handful. Okay, so let's just go. Obviously, it has to be past the end date of the price list and all that. So it'll check for all those. You'll see that if there are any errors, I'm going past the end date of the header, it's going to call me off of that. All right, so we'll see how the end date trickles down and how the formula also trickles down and pegs it to the current pricing and then does a 5% increase. So this is just one of the multiple templates that we've been, oh yeah, so there it is. The end date should be within start and end of the header. So yeah, these are all old headers, I believe. So you'll see that they are erroring for the end date exceeding the header end date. So that's the call out on those price lists where the header itself is shorter than the line, which is a valid rejection. But the others which are clean, they're going through. So you'll see a mixed bag of results here. All right, and the results are right here. You can see accepted, and the ones that are rejected, you can exactly see why they are so. And you can see that the end date of the list line should be within the start and end of the header. So that's the only reason. Okay, so this header was a short duration one, and that's why it cannot go beyond 5/30. The others where it was clean, it got accepted. So when it's accepted, you can rest assured that it's not only end dated this line, but it has also inserted a new line with this revised pricing, 5% increase, start date, day after this end date. Okay, the day after would be like June 1st, you would have a new line for the same item with the new pricing here. So all of that is done automatically in one upload. And you get the feedback right here. You can make corrections and reprocess from right within here. All right, so that's on the pricing side. And all of these templates I'm going to make available. So this is just one of the templates, as I said, which we are seeing being utilized a lot in the current churn that is happening on pricing changes, both on the supplier and the customer side. So this is one of the templates. I'll walk through a few others, but these are all streamlined for efficiency to navigate through these scenarios that we are increasingly seeing now. And I'll make these available if you want to on post the webinar. I'll make it available if you want to reach out, or we can share it. Okay, so this is on the sales side. And as some of you indicated, a lot of you are seeing the same on the vendor side. Now, multiple ways I've seen vendor price lists also are a thing I've seen, that it's not just the customer pricing. Sometimes you might have a vendor pricing on the price list, and how that is done is using the qualifiers. So let's say I want to do a download using form, and I want to do it by qualifiers. So when I do it by form, it is a searchable form with just my search query on this kind of it's not on the sheet. Again, here I can filter by current and future. And here, because I have an expanded sheet here, it opens up more sections. So this is the full sheet. It is not the trimmed down item price update sheet. This is my full sheet here. And I have qualifiers, attributes, and then the DFFs and everything. Okay, so here you can filter by qualifier level criteria. So let's say I'm doing it for a vendor. You can do it by vendor tracking, or some of you have seen has set up vendor also as a qualifier, and put that on the price list qualifier, the vendor name as the qualifier, and filter it by that for the vendor-based pricing. So you can do that using this here, qualifier-based, and then download those specific to the vendors, any of the price list, and then you can update those in bulk. So that is one way, but the more common approach is obviously through the POs, using blanket agreements, or using standard POs. So a lot of updates happening on the standard POs also, we have seen that. And our PO wizard, purchase order wizard, is the solution to it. Again, here there is a trim little sheet if you want to update the price and put a new price at the shipment level as well as at the line level. So pretty simple. You can go into this PO Wizard Change API worksheet. There are different modes in here. Again, I'll have to just switch my, so that's the conflict is happening between the two. One is a customer AR kind of a responsibility, and the other is a procurement responsibility. So that's why I have to log in again. And that's why it goes as per your segregation is very clear on these wizard solutions. So if you are an AR receivables responsibility, it logs you out of the other one, or you cannot be going into POs as a receivables user and vice versa. So it is very rigid on your segregation of responsibilities. So now we are going in as a purchasing user, so we'll get access to the PO side of things. All right, and then I can download my POs. I can do the same. There is a download by form or by sheet, and I'm going to do that with the sheet here. This is my list of POs, let's say, or I can keep going more. I can have my entire list here, and I can say download using sheet data. And it'll get me all the lines. I could do a composite search of PO number and line number if I have the exact line number. Or I believe we can do it by item. I'll have to double check, but yeah, you can do it by, to get to the exact line number, you can do that. And then once you have that, you can go into the new price. Sometimes you might have a revision in the quantity, so you can plug in your new price on those. It could again be a formula based off of this if you want to increase it by a certain percentage. The same Excel capabilities can function here. Okay, and then you can go in and update. All right, so that should be only for the goods, I believe. Otherwise, for expense, you don't really need to do that. So just do it on a few of them, highlight, and process these. So there's new price at the line level. You can do the same at the shipment level. So I can do the same formula on here. There are dates that you can change, the ship date or promise date. So you can go into the change API mode and do that. Right, and then let's process these. This is a simple API-based mode within the PO wizard. So you'll straight away see the feedback. There are some which go through interfaces, and you just have to submit the concurrent program on those. But this one is a simple one. Okay, so that takes care of standard PO changes. Many of you have agreements in place, and you might have to go back and revise either the pricing or sometimes the slabs within the pricing that you're negotiating with your suppliers. You might have to go back and change them. So that can also be done using the same purchase order wizard solution. And in that case, you would go into the BPA mode. There is a blanket purchase agreements mode. And all the modes are within this little clipboard. Once this is done, we'll flip it and we'll see there is a BPA mode. The instance is a little sluggish, I think, taking its own time sometimes. Okay, past this, I'm also going to go into the costing side of things. So all of this might impact when your raw materials or your finished goods that you're getting, those are impacted by tariffs sometimes. So you might have fluctuations in your costs. So I also have a ready sheet where you can go in and do your item cost updates. Either raw material, packaging might be undergoing changes. So you can go into that element or sub-element and make changes to your costs. Okay, so let me stop this. Let me not try to work with this instance. Probably I'll go to a different instance. Looks like it is not at its best today. So we'll leave it alone. Okay. And then let me navigate over to the BPAs very quickly. I'll just show the BPA. I think it is finishing up and cleaning up the upload either ways. Yeah, there you go. So I reverted too late, so it just went through. All right, so let me not process anything else now and just show you the BPA mode. So go into the blanket purchase agreements. Right. And then once you switch that, you can utilize the BPA pre-built sheets. So within here, you can download your BPAs and then you can change your effective dates if you want, the prices, release amounts, and all of that. Okay, so there is a create mode and an update mode. Again, this is also tailored to, we can tailor it down even more if there is anything specific, but these could be saved as pre-built, streamlined templates. So that's another area which we are seeing with the tariff changes being utilized a lot, coming to the aid of many of the users who want to change the pricing on the agreements. Next up, I wanted to go into the item costs, and in that case, I'm going to go into a different instance. Yes, it closed on me, I think, when I did all of that. See, here's the item cost. And it does discrete standard pricing. So I'm going to use a different instance in this case now. So in the item costing, you might, some of our customers or users are actually navigating the tariffs through a material overhead cost. So let me go to this different instance. So there you can set up a material overhead called tariffs and add that to the items. So that could be one way to handle and account for the tariff increase, okay? As a different element or a sub-element within your standard costing. And then you can attach those to your existing items. And it's pretty simple. Just list your items, warehouse, as I've done here, put in a cost type where you want to try and implement the new tariff component. And then you can do the standard cost import from within here. So maybe I'll just do it on the pending cost type. So I can just put that as one blanket value here, pending as the cost type. And the defaults, as you know, trickle down in the absence of any value. If you want to override and put current on one of them, you can do that. Okay, so let's look at the cost element. I think it is a material overhead. And I'll use the form briefly, just for one, to aid me with the exact value here. So I'm going to do a material overhead. I've set up a tariff as the sub-element. So this is the tariff, and it could be one consistent value. It could be item-based, or it could be total value-based. Okay, and you can put one consistent rate or amount, or it could be a percentage as we saw using Excel. All right. So just do that, and you can copy it down once I have it. So this is my tariff component. I'm applying it to all the cost all the item costs as a new element, and just upload it into the pending cost type. And beyond that, you just have to run the standard cost import. All of these programs that are related to costing, we have tried to link them within the sheet itself under concurrent. So this one you will notice is an interface-based wizard. So you'll see that it goes into the interface tables. You'll have a pending status in the end, and we can follow it up with the submission. So there goes the pending status. And we have the import program built within here. And we also have the standard cost update program. So once you're happy with it, once you've imported it, you can actually go and run the standard cost update as well. So right now it's for pending. I'll just submit it. And then once it runs its due course, I can come back, refresh, and see the changes. And these should be in the pending status, or the pending cost should have been registered on the instance. So that will take care of you if you want to do it this way. Another method some people have used is to do it on the item list price. Another impact we have seen is when you go to the item setup on the item definition itself, item structure itself, you can go in and put a country of origin. They have enabled that flex field. We're seeing a lot of people going and updating the country of origin if you're shifting your sourcing strategy and procurement and doing it from another place because of the tariffs. You're nearshoring your procurement and getting the items from somewhere else. You might have to obviously add new items to the BPAs as well, and change items, end date, expire items on the BPAs, for which PO Wizard is handy. We have some templates built for that also, just to end date your BPAs or add new lines to existing BPAs. We can do that using the PO Wizard. And in addition, you can go to the item wizard if you want to introduce, let's say, a new category on all the items. Let's say country of origin. You want to slice with that and maybe, apply some sort of tariff impact or cost impact by category. You can introduce a new category, and it's pretty easy if you want to do one sweeping change on all the items and add a value on this category. We have the category codes. You can maintain categories, add a new category with all the combinations you want, and then you can assign those categories to the items also in bulk. Okay, so you have the item, you have the category, and you can put the new values, introduce a new category very easily, do a sweeping change on all the items through the spreadsheet. And we have tailor-made sheets for that as well. Okay, so those are some of the things we've seen. And these are all streamlined sheets that we've built, owing to the flexibility, as I said, on trimming down and combining the exact set of columns I want. When I want to update categories, I want to see only this little slice of my item org, some of the main attributes, whether it's active, and then straight down to the category, which is a lot of hoops and jumps when you are on the Oracle forms. Okay, so these trimmed down sheets, what we are planning to do is going forward, I encourage you to go into the community. There will be a library. I'm jumping ahead a little bit. But going forward, we are planning to do a library of templates, basically. Okay, so go into the community. It's under community.more4apps.com. You can set up your login information and be in the know. You get updates. And going forward, we encourage you all to share any templates with each other. And we'll also post out templates like these pre-built, streamlined to specific use cases. And we want to have a little buzzing group which can exchange and learn off of each other, sharing these kind of templates. And yeah, definitely all these are available if you reach out to us. We can make these tariff related streamlined sheets that we have been using. We can make them available. So I encourage you all to go into the community so that you're in the know of any of these upcoming updates. All right, I think we can hop over to the questions. I can take a peek if it's in the chat.
Yeah, we have a few in the chat if you'd like to look at those.
Oh, there is a question about Fusion. We can
Yeah, I
use,
guess maybe that you want Fusion templates as well. Maybe.
yes, so we have a different product, set of products called our cloud integrators. And we had a few sessions today. We can share some recordings. So we are churning out. We don't have the pricing yet, but we have items and a lot on procurement. The customer side of pricing sheets, we don't have them on cloud yet, but procurement is pretty well built out. There is blanket agreements, there is standard POs that you can make changes, all that on the Fusion Cloud. It's just a different set of tools or products that we have. Okay, the next one, is there a wizard for hours or salary upload with no PO? So I think on our HR suite of wizards, we have the element entry. So that might be what we are referring to. And I'm going into our entire suite of wizard solutions. So if you go into HRMS, you'll see element entry. So probably that should take care, or salary is part of the employee wizard. But yeah, we can definitely dig into those. There are user guides as well, but yeah, we can connect and we can walk through those. There are salary updates possible from the employee wizard. Okay.
I have a couple for you. Does the solution provide any features to handle average costing for items? Did you touch
Mhm.
on that?
Yes, sure. So the solution that I showed here, item cost, does discrete standard costing, but the material transaction wizard, because how it is set up, the material transaction wizard takes care of average costing. We have a different solution. It does not just average costing, it does inventory transactions and a lot of other things. But yeah, the material transaction wizard is where interface is used for the average costing, and that's why we had to put it into the material transaction wizard. But we have a solution for that, for the average costing as well.
Someone is asking, will you be covering the employee wizard? Maybe not to, I don't know what kind
Mm.
of tips and tricks. Maybe we can reach out and figure out what you would like to be covered in the employee
Yeah,
wizard.
maybe it could be a topic for the next next one, maybe
Yeah, no, I think
session.
that's a good one. Yeah, I write that down.
HR.
Um, yeah, HR. Yeah, overall, yeah. Um, Here's another one. Does the functionality include capability to handle price breaks on purchase agreements and on customer pricing?
Yes, on both sides actually. Yeah, so on the price list on the customer side, there is a place for price breaks. It's just a different section past all the lines. You would be able to go into the price breaks also. Okay, so you can have your slabs. You just pull in that section. I didn't have it in my concise cut down, but as soon as you pull in that section, you can utilize it's the same fields that you see on the form, and you'll be able to update them as well. And the same goes for the BPAs. When you go into the PO side, if you're on the BPA, this doesn't have it because it's cut down, but you can always pull in those from the expanded sheets. If you create a sheet with everything on it, you'll see the BPA price break section. So yeah, on both sides, you're able to handle those.
There's another question for you in the chat.
In the chat, okay. Can we see how the wizard uploads into Oracle when it's creating an invoice for payment? Once it is created to produce an invoice, so AP invoices if you want to generate out of that. So that, not sure if you want to unmute Lisa and I could try to understand, is it the AP invoice payment that we are looking for? Or just see,
Yes.
okay. Yes, so these POs, once they are created from here, or when you do a PO release from here against an agreement, they follow the same process. You would have to go through the receiving, and if it's a two-way match, three-way match, based off of that, it is ready for invoicing. Now, when it comes to invoicing, we have an AP invoice wizard. It's part of our procurement solution, but yeah, it's a different workbook from the current one that I was showing, the PO wizard. So it's called the AP invoice wizard, and that can take care of invoicing in bulk for you, including match to PO or non-match. So if you want to match them to the POs that you just created, that can also be done through the AP invoice wizard. And we can go into deeper into that. We can connect separately, independently, and we can go deeper into that solution.
I don't know. Thank you. That would be great. Okay, yeah, Lisa, we will reach out then about that sort of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. We can have a separate.
Yeah, I don't see any other questions. If anyone else has any other questions, I'll be sending out Rachna's info. So no worries about that. And always feel free to reach out to your rep. And, like Rachna says that you have the template tune-ups if you want to mention that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit? And just, yeah.
Sure, yes. So, yeah, these are the different ways you can connect with us. One is, of course, the community, and you can also reach out and we can have an individualized session. So, what I did now was more around the tariff situation and what we are seeing and trim down templates based on that, but individual to your specific to your use case, your scenario that you're facing. We could help you trim down your templates, and we call it a template tune-up session. You can always request that, and we're happy to hear about your business situations and help you have a streamlined focus sheet like these.
There is another question. Is the AP Invoice Wizard for sending invoices to customers or uploading invoices received from vendors? It's in the chat if you want to take a look at it.
Okay, so it is the AP invoice within the EBS module. So yeah, when your vendor sends it, if your supplier sends it, you can upload it using the AP invoice wizard. So it's
So
not
is it for like sending to customers or just uploading?
No, just for what your
Uploading.
procurement or your suppliers have sent you. So yeah, sending to
Okay.
customers would be more like your AR invoice, I think, if you're talking about that. We have both sides
Okay.
of the solution
hmm
for
hmm
supplier invoices as well as for customer invoices. One is an AP invoice when it comes from the supplier. And if you want to send it to your customers, then it's the AR invoice solution. We
Great.
have that as well.
Okay. Yeah, if there's any stragglers, we'll take it offline. But I again before Ashna makes her final remarks, the recording will go out probably by the end of the week. I will also send out recordings for the other sessions in case you want to peek at those. And if I think Rachna, I think we're just gonna send the templates. So I'll work with Rachna here and we'll send out all these templates to everybody. And you can take a look at it and see if it works for you and just get other ideas. And yeah, and just thank you again for joining us, and thank you, Rachna. Rachna, anything you'd like to add?
No, it's always a pleasure to connect with all of you in this forum. Looking forward to more, and we want to hear more topics as you brought up. HR was a good
Yes, of
candidate. Anything
course.
else? Yes, thank you for it.
Yeah.
Keep it
All
flowing.
right. Well,
Thank
thank you,
you.
everybody. Have a great day.